Coach, I hate to look back, but the UNLV game, we got your statement, we got the statement from Bob Carney, and then a statement from the league, and frankly, they were all kind of vague and didn't really say why the game was canceled. Why was the game canceled against UNLV?
Yeah, well, I mean, we put our statements out, BJ. I mean, that's what the statements were, and that one's over. To be honest with you, we moved on from that, so the focus is on Wyoming at this point.
But the numbers you guys had from the San Jose game going into this game, that wasn't going to be an issue for you guys?
Numbers as far as what?
Like you didn't have enough D linemen or whatever to play against San Jose. Were you going to be in a similar boat against UNLV?
No, but like I said before, I mean, we talked about this. You got to go back into COVID, contact, and injuries. Injuries were improving in those areas. COVID and contact tracing, that was still up in the air because we still had a test that we had to do and finalize that. But as far as the injury, we were improving in those areas, which is the key, really. At the end of the day, you got to look at not just the bodies that you have on the team, but where the bodies are, right? Where the players are. I mean, that's comes down to. So we were improving in injury areas that way. And we are going into this week too.
With the game on Saturday, I know there's a lot of weird scenarios and tiebreakers and all this if you were to lose, but if you win, you're in. It's kind of as simple as that for you guys in terms of getting to the conference championship. So I know you say every week's championship week, but is it, just let's take care of our business and win and be in the championship game?
That's the focus. I mean, I don't think it should be any other way. I think you've got to prepare yourself to win, and that's if anybody's thinking differently, then we have a problem. That hasn't been my message to anybody in this program or on this team. We're going there to win. That's the goal. So we have to prepare to make sure we do that. And if you win, like we said before, you control your destiny when you win games, right? You don't have to wait on anybody or bank on anybody else losing, winning, anything like that. You control it. If you take care of business and you win every single game in your conference, then you're going to put yourself in a championship game. This one's no different. And the real challenge is just playing Wyoming. I know they lost last week in a tough game. I know New Mexico played well, and that was a tough loss for Wyoming. And we've got to make sure that we know what we're getting into with all the factors, along with a really good football team. But in our mind, it's control your destiny by winning games. That's really what it comes down to, and not any other formula, anything like that. If guys are listening to that, then and we have a problem. And I've addressed that, and our focus, again, as every year when it comes down to the end of the season, there's all these different scenarios that come up, whether it's bowl games, championships, whatever. And there's a lot of, and not so much this year, but there's still some of it. There's a lot of those things that we just can't let in, that we need to stay focused on what we're doing and not let some of those distractions set in. So it is all Wyoming. It is all about trying to prepare ourselves to beat Wyoming and win that game. And then whatever happens after that, all right, we can control what we can by playing against Wyoming and beating them.
Coach, it's been a couple weeks since you guys had a game. I'm curious, how have you guys as a staff approached these past few weeks? Have you taken a few extra days to prepare for Wyoming? Have you given guys extra days off? How have you guys kind of approached it?
Yeah, we spent more time on Wyoming now, knowing that they're the next opponent. The players had Friday. We did some work. We didn't practice the Friday of the UNLV game. And then Saturday was off like we had planned. We had planned Saturday to be off. They came in. I believe we did testing that day. They did some recovery stuff, very light, just on their own. And then Sunday we went out and practiced. So we had kind of our normal Sunday like we usually do, and it went well. I thought the energy was good. Guys are in the building today, studying film, doing the things they have to do, and then we'll have a normal week leading into Friday when we travel. We'll get there Friday night, we'll do our meetings, and then get up and get ready to go on Saturday. So once we knew that we were moving on to Wyoming, yeah, we started right onto them and started watching their film, and we have broken them down a little bit as the season went on. So the GAs had all that prepared, so we were able to jump on it pretty quickly.
And I'm curious, we see more and more bowl games canceled every day. I'm curious, what do you want to see happen in the postseason? Obviously, staying home and – stop, sorry, my dog wanted to get involved. Obviously,
Keep going.
staying home and playing the Potato Bowl is the safer option in terms of not having to travel. But I know guys look forward to that bowl game experience. What would you rather see happen this year?
Well, I don't really know all the options right now, bowl game wise. The LA Bowl got canceled today. Is that right? So I heard that in the building. I don't know exactly what that means. But as far as, everybody wants to travel. Not that this is not a good bowl game, but I think for our guys, you want to travel and you want to go play somewhere and have that experience, which it's not going to be the same as a normal bowl game. You're not going there for 3 or 4 days. You're not going to have that experience. You're going to practice and then fly wherever you're playing, get off the plane and go play. It will not be like a normal bowl game anywhere. And if we ended up here, great. If a bowl game actually happens, if we're in a bowl game and it actually happens, then I would say right now we'll take it at this point, wherever that is. I don't think anybody's saying, we'd rather this or that. And to be honest with you, that hasn't really been a topic of conversation around here. It's just, how do we really get to Wyoming? I mean, the last couple of weeks, everybody now is really focused on just how do we get through this week prepared and ready to go play in this next game. And then whatever happens after that. I hope the bowl game situation gets better and we're able to be in one and we could travel and we could be somewhere and we could go experience that and at least do those things if everything worked out. But if we ended up playing a bowl game here, we're playing a bowl game at that point. That means things for everybody is somewhat going well, where the bowl games still exist at the end of the season.
Jay Tuss, Channel 7, followed by Mike Prater with KTIK.
Bryan, in a year that there's hardly any normalcy, especially these last 2 weeks, what's been the message to your guys just to keep their minds in this when they can't control a whole lot right now?
Well, what you just said, control what you can. Control the controllables. Those are things that are right in front of us. And we've talked a lot about toughness. We talked about fortitude yesterday. And just with so many things, so much uncertainty, so many challenges, not just football related. There's people that we know that are sick. There's people that we know that don't have jobs. There's people that we know that are a lot worse situations than we are. But that affects you, right? You're not the one necessarily in it, but it affects you because you care about those people. And it affects how you go about your day. And just letting these guys know like they can handle this. And it's tough, but they're going to be better for it. They can handle it. I think a lot of families lean on our guys because they're in the positions that they're in, right? They're Division I football players. They've made it this far. And I think a lot of people lean on them. They lean on coaches here and all that, which is great. It's great to be in that position. All right. Puts a lot of pressure on you, but you can handle it. And I want guys to know that. I want them to know that they can handle these things. And they also got their teammates and their coaches around here to help them. So they're not by themselves. That's the beauty of being on a team. You're not by yourself. You got a lot of people surrounding you that want you to be successful and want to help you. And just letting them know that. And I really do believe that. I think, tough times, you've got to be tough. You've got to be able, and I think that's a good thing. I think building that as part of your character, to have that toughness, the fortitude when things are challenging, to have the courage to continue on and to do those things, I think it matters. And certainly when these guys leave here, they're Broncos, and when they leave here, they're going to have a lot more challenges they're going to face. We all know that, all right? Being professionals now in a career, we know the challenges they're going to face. College is awesome. Right now it's challenging because of what's going on, but it's an awesome experience. And then you get in the real world, families, jobs, things that go on, other, tragedies that happen along the way in life, which they will happen. And just trying to get these guys to understand that they're going to be able to handle those things and how to, not just they can, but also how to, and using COVID and using the challenges we're facing as kind of teachable moments in this experience to learn from. I think that's important. I really do. And I know there's a lot of things that, coaches on this staff, myself, we went through before. You want to quit. when you're young, or you just don't think it's worth it, and then you push through it. And those are the things that help you get to where you are now, right? And we all know that as coaches, being a little bit older. And I want our guys to just know, hey, keep pushing through. All right, keep leaning on your teammates and coaches, and this will pass, but you'll be better for it. And it's not, when COVID's gone, there's still going to be other challenges, all right, for all of us, right, that we're going to face every single day in our lives. And I just want these guys to know that they can handle it. And I hope, and I see it in our guys too. I think they do accept challenges. I think they do have tremendous toughness, not just on the field, but in life. And that's the bigger lesson in all this, is when they leave here, they're all going to be successful if they can withstand some of the challenges they're going to face early on and be able to fight through that, not quit and give up. They're going to break through, and they're so smart and valuable and valued here that they're going to have those same qualities show up in whatever else they do when they leave here. And I really believe that.
Looking ahead just a little bit, we're closing in on signing day, and it's kind of been an unprecedented year when it comes to recruiting. How much more challenging has it been for you and your staff? And I know that you guys are a group that prides yourself in also going out and evaluating and finding those diamonds in a rough. And that might be going to a game and looking at one guy and spotting another. Mm-hmm. Without the ability to really do that at a consistent level this year, how hard has it been to assemble this recruiting class?
Yeah, it's not hard to assemble it right now. And there's guys, right? You're offering guys, you're recruiting guys. Now, we still haven't signed them, so ask me in a couple weeks how that looks. So we still have to sign these guys, and they're all getting recruited by other schools. So we're battling right now to make sure that we hang on to some of these guys. But the challenge is, we haven't seen them. So, I mean, this is going to be give a couple years from now and look at this class and say, wow, they hardly did. I mean, we worked really hard to visit these guys via Zoom and all that, but we never saw them. They might turn out and be the best class we've ever signed, and they could turn out and not be. There could be a lot of guys in there with a lot of things that we didn't know because we didn't get to see them. And one thing that we really pride ourselves on is we actually see these guys. And myself, I've signed guys that I haven't seen and it hasn't worked out. And I was a young coach, and you said, I'll never do that again. You're going to see every single one of them, at least in person. Maybe you don't see him play, but you see him play basketball. You see him in person. You get a home visit. And we haven't been able to do that. And to me, I don't think it's just Boise State. I think it's every coach in the country sitting there going, how do we sign these guys? And you haven't really seen them. And I think as a player too, you're going to probably see a lot of guys hold up a little bit in this first signing period and really think about, all right, maybe I need to take a little extra time before I sign to go out there and see whatever, right? See the environment, make a trip. And that's hard on some of those players because we're able to pay for those trips to bring them up and to host them, to do all that. And you're recruiting a guy across the country. That's a long trip. Maybe the family doesn't feel comfortable flying. It costs a lot of money to get up here. And, that becomes a challenge in itself. So it's hard. You got to recruit, you got to sign, you got to have players in your program, but under the conditions with the NCAA not letting us get out, see anybody, or bringing anybody on campus, it's impossible to tell how this whole thing's going to turn out. I like our guys that we're recruiting. Our staff's done an awesome job communicating with them. I think we know probably more about them than we've ever known about a class because we spent so much time talking to them, but we just haven't seen them. And so there's just some things when you see it with your own eyes that either confirm or tell you like, hey, this may not be the right fit. And then you make some decisions off of that. You make some gut decisions. And right now we're trying to do the best we can, just like this, having these type of conversations. And I think for the players, they've been awesome. A lot of guys that are committed to us. They've been very solid. They're excited to be here. They've done some research. Some guys have been here. They've got a chance to see Boise. But we will see when these guys actually sign and then we get them on campus and, how everything just works out over the next couple of years. Hopefully the rule changes. We got to get out. I would say this. We'll all be in trouble in college football if we're not out on the road in spring somehow, some way, seeing guys, or if we don't have camps in the summer to bring guys in on our campus, to be a part of our camp, to be around them, to be able to coach them. If we're not doing those things again, then that's going to be that's going to be very difficult. I think we can do it one time around. Twice would be a very, very big challenge for everyone.
Brian.
Mike Prater, and then we'll get Will Hall.
Hey, Brian, in our business, we start every morning by looking at the news, the headlines, game canceled, bowl games canceled, constant testing. And then, believe it or not, we actually try to find some balance there, the positivity or something fun and creative. You have to wake up every morning and tell your football team the same thing. Here's the reality, and a lot of times these days it's negative. What do you do? What do your staff do? What kind of elements do you have built in where you're not just preaching constant negativity to these players, that you're trying to find that positive nugget in this crazy, crazy world? How do you teach that every day to these kids who get bombarded constantly by this news?
Yeah, well, yeah, we just addressed it again, kind of just all the negativity, and not just in the media as far as sports, but everywhere, right? As far as COVID. I mean, it's not just related to football. And I know our guys see that. I see it. My family sees it. I get hit from all different ways on all those same things. And I think it goes back for us, at least when they're here. Hey, let's focus on the things that we can control. So back to that message again. And then making sure that we're enjoying the opportunity that we have to actually play. I mean, go back a few months ago, this season was postponed. Now we're playing. We weren't playing again the last couple of weeks. That'll put things in perspective in a hurry. When you're rolling in the season, then you don't play. And then you do it again. And then you don't play. I mean, it's going to be, 3 weeks when we go play against Wyoming since we played. And you talk about practicing and trying to keep things fun and light. At the same time, still not going out there and not showing up for practice mentally prepared to practice, right? You can't show up and not stretch properly. There's still standards, and I think, and I believe this, there's still standards, even in difficult situations when things suck, there's still standards that you still have to uphold. And just trying to get guys to understand that those are the part back to what Jay said, like the toughness piece. When things get hard, it's very easy for everybody to just kind of fall off when it comes to the standards or the details or all the things that help you to be successful in the first place, because you're just not feeling it. And our responsibility as coaches is to help our players feel it every day. And sometimes, hey, it's hard. We went out there, we did some gassers yesterday. That's not fun, but we need it because we're going to go play in altitude, and we got to make sure our wind, all right, and our conditioning and our hydration is on point so we can go play at 7,165 feet, right? Because the signs are all going to be out, and that's going to be part of the message when you walk into the stadium, just like it was against Colorado Air Force. Oxygen deprivation, right? You're all going to go out there and pass out on the first two plays. Well, we didn't do that. And so just trying to stay focused on those type of things. And then when guys do that, doing the best we can to let them know that, hey, what you're doing is the right thing. All right, you're pushing yourself. We appreciate that. All right, great job. Good for you. That type of stuff. And just letting them go through these tough situations and then come out on the other side on a positive, and then try to praise them for that and say, hey, that's appreciated. What you're doing is the right thing. You're going to be better for it. Like we say around here, hard work does not go unnoticed. Well, put in the work. And then at the end of the week, like BJ asked, if we can do all those things, we win that game, we control our destiny. So I think there's a lot of positives to every single day that we can provide to the people in this program on, hey, if we're doing these things, you're doing these things, you're a part of it, everybody matters. And I think that's important right now, that you're valued and you're valuable, which I still think that's something that everybody wants in any job they're in. They want to know they're valued and valuable. Don't forget about the pay and all that crap. Am I valued? Am I valuable? And trying to make sure that guys understand that they're valued and they're valuable, and what they do affects everybody on this team. And so that can kind of take away some of that outside noise or problems they're facing and just focus on what they need to do. And then hopefully that provides some positivity for them, because they're providing a lot for this football team, this program, and the things that we're trying to accomplish. So we have that goal. That's the nice thing about having a chance to play right now and being in the situation we're in. We have a goal. We have an opportunity to win that goal or achieve that goal. And it's kind of in our hands right now. So that keeps everybody grounded and focused, I hope. But every now and then we all drift away and we start getting caught up in all this stuff that's going on. And you know, the CDC might change this and contact tracing times change here. And a guy coming back from an injury, how long is that going to take? And, you know, there's a lot of frustration, and you got to just understand that and go take a deep breath and refocus on, okay, how do we handle that? It goes back to amazing problem solvers. How do we handle it? All right, let's stay focused on what we have to do. And then at the same time, we cannot let the standards slide. Because if we do that and we go through a week and we're just focused on the negativity or trying to overcome that and we let the standards slip, we'll go play Wyoming and they'll beat us. We won't have a good showing because we haven't prepared properly. And that can't happen either. So it's a balance. I don't know if we're doing it the right way or the best way. I know this is how we're doing it. And so far, we haven't had a couple games to prove that. So we get a chance against Wyoming to prove that, and we'll see if that formula actually works.
You've got one regular season game left. So in theory, the body of work, a lot of the body of work is in the books. Let's talk X's and O's for a second. What do you love about this football team in terms of X's and O's? What concerns you about this football team when it comes to X's and O's?
Our team or Wyoming?
Your team.
Well, yeah, what I love about X's and O's, I think we're able to run the ball. I felt that way that we've gotten better in areas in the run game. That's improved. I feel like our situational football on the offensive side has been pretty good. Third downs in red zone. Those areas right there, I think guys have taken a lot of pride in that. And I hope that continues. Special teams, I've been very pleased with the effort of every player on special teams. We obviously have a dynamic returner. We know that. But it's not just Avery. It's the guys that were blocking for him too. And to me, we've come a long ways from last year to this year just with our technique and our effort on special teams. And it happens in practice. We don't look sloppy in practice when it comes to special teams. And that's Coach Venable and Coach Alley and all the other coaches making that important. We talk about all in on special teams. And it certainly showed up that way so far. And we've been able to make some plays. On the defensive side, we got to get some guys back, obviously, but we've done a decent job against the run. I think we'll be better. But we know the area on defense, we need to create turnovers and we need to tackle. So those two things need to improve. We got the guys to do it. They're working hard at it. And we haven't had a couple of games to show that, but that's something from the Hawaii game that we know we need to improve on. We need to create turnovers, or when we have opportunities, at least get them. And then we got to tackle. And when you're playing against a team like Wyoming, that they can run the ball and they've got a really good front where they can get movement. When the running back gets out into the second level, you got to tackle them. When you got tight ends, you got to cover them. They do a great job in play action. You got to have great eyes. You've got to cover the guys on the field that you're supposed to cover. But those guys on the defensive side, Riley Wimpy, Avery Williams, Kay Kalla, those guys, the leadership on that side of the ball, it's all there. And now we just got to go execute. So those are the things that we've focused on. And, you know, it's like every week, how do we get better in our technique? How do we continue to keep practicing better? And we've had a couple dips. When the games get canceled, the energy level drops a little bit. We got to pick it back up so the effort's there, because otherwise we're just going through the motions. That's a waste of time. So I think the effort, and it was last night, the effort was there, the focus was there, the energy was there, the technique was pretty good. That needs to all happen again on Tuesday this week. But those are the areas that I like about this team and some of the concerns that we need to get better at.
Will Hall.
Hars, you look at Wyoming running back Xavier Valade. What stands out to you about him?
Well, so he got hurt in the UNLV game, probably the top Mountain West running back right now. So that guy's – and I think very highly of him, but I think highly of their offensive line, their tight ends. They run the ball. I mean, you go back to North Dakota State and how physical they are and what they're able to do, how they run the ball. That carries over into Wyoming. You see it at Kansas State. There's just a lot of similarities with a team that knows that they can run the football, and that's part of their identity. So, and I appreciate that. They try to run it, and they've got good play action. You got to have a really good running back when you're going to have that style of offense, and he's certainly that. So, yeah, I think very highly of him. He's one of the best running backs that we've seen, in a couple of years. So, we got to tackle him. I know on the defensive side, we got to tackle that guy. We can't let that guy get going, and we got to do everything we can to help ourselves against their run game and slow him down. And we'll kind of see where he's at when he comes out there to play against us. And our front seven, we get a few guys back, hopefully, and we can be better up front, and our linebackers are playing well, then that's the challenge between the run game and our front seven. All right, who's going to be better? And we got to win more than we lose in that situation. So he's a big part of it. You don't have a guy like that. You can talk about all you want, how you want to run the ball. You got to have a guy that can actually do it, and he can do it.
BJ, follow up.
Yeah, Coach, just getting back to this week's game, I know a couple weeks ago you told us, I think the quote was very concerned about playing the game that week. I mean, where's your confidence level now that this game Saturday is going to be played?
Very high. Yeah, very confident that we'll play this game. We want to play. Wyoming wants to play. I don't know their whole situation. I know that I feel very confident about where we are, and that's going into Tuesday. Let me just say that we still got a few more tests that we have to do, and certainly things can change, as we know, and that's out of our control. But right now, as far as our guys, their mindset, where we are, very confident, and everyone on this team is expecting to play. So we're all preparing. There's no what ifs right now for us. It's all full go against Wyoming, preparation, full go against Wyoming. We talked about our week all the way leading into Saturday, what it's going to look like. Travel on Friday, Saturday, how we're going to do that morning. There's a few challenges when you get to Wyoming as far as space and just the things that we have to do to eat somewhere or actually do a walkthrough. But it is what it is. That's been the whole year. But everybody's preparing for, we're going to get on that plane Friday and we're going down to Wyoming. We're going to play.
Jay Tuss, quick follow-up. Last one.
Yeah. Bryan, just simply put, I mean, I feel like every year, every coach wants to find out how good their team can be, get into a rhythm and play at a peak on both sides of the ball and special teams and all that. I mean, how hard is it to find that moment right now with your team, and how eager are you to find that moment?
Yeah, if you're talking about a normal year, I don't know if you're going to find that like you would in a normal year. Let's talk about game 4 and 5 in a normal season, right? Everybody's still playing. You might have somebody out because of injury, but you have 90% of your core that's been out there playing the majority of the season. And then you hope you're getting better every game and you're starting to peak as you get into conference play and so on. That's been very challenging this year. There's been some guys that have played every game, been out there for every practice. There's been guys that haven't. And one of the difficult things, the reality of it is, if a guy's out with COVID, they're gone for their 10 days, right? Well, they're not doing anything. If a guy's out with quarantine, well, they're not doing anything. So just you kind of treat like every one of those situations like an injury, and they still have to come back because football, you got to practice football and do it every single week to stay sharp and understand, the contact and the physicality that you're going to have to play with, and maybe the moves the guy has. You're trying to replicate that with your scout team. When you're not doing that and you're just at home, it's not like you just jump right back into it. You got to build into it. You got to build yourself back and get back into the groove a little bit. So this one's been totally different, because you imagine every guy that goes out, it's, however many injuries that is, 30, 40 injuries. Imagine that, right? If that was a regular season, you said any team had 30 guys with those type of injuries that took them out that long, it would never be a season where you could get any sort of groove. And The nice thing is the seconds, the thirds, those guys have stepped up. There's a lot more focus. I'll say that when you're a backup player right now, the one thing COVID has brought in kind of this whole situation is there's a tremendous focus at practice. Like you're never taking the play off. Some guys, it might be third string and they, in a regular season, they might go run down a scout team on special teams or whatever. And you try to keep them focused, and it shouldn't be that way, but they lose it a little bit. Now if you lose focus now, 2 plays later, you're in. And, you've got to understand that. And for these younger guys, I think we've learned that as the season has gone on, how much it truly takes to be prepared. And if you assume, you're in trouble. We've seen that. We've seen that along the way. So I think guys learn that lesson the hard way and are much more focused. And, as coaches too, it's on us as well. We got to make sure that happens every single day. And that goes back to what Mike was talking about, like the standards. Like you don't have time to take plays off right now. You don't have the opportunity to not be in here studying film. So no, we're not going to really find out. We're just every single game. It's more kind of that true 1-0. Like we're just every week is going to be different. It's just, this is Wyoming week, not the same as Hawaii week, right? This is Wyoming week, literally. And how we're going to look and what we do is going to be different, right? We'll have a little different flavor, and we're going to have different players out there. And, whatever that show looks like at the end of the week is going to be, determined by how we prepare going into the game.
All right, guys, that's all the time we have for this week. Appreciate your time. Coach, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Have a good week, guys.
Thanks, Brian.